Member for Heathcote.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My question is directed to the Minister for Early Childhood Education. How is the New South Wales Government supporting affordable access to early childhood education for families in New South Wales?
Thank you. For the Minister for Early Childhood Education. Thank you, Madam Speaker. Can I thank the member for Heathcote for his question and for his genuine interest in early childhood education right across this state. Madam Speaker, I was actually recently in Engadine with the member and we visited some fantastic services. Engadine Preschool Kindergarten, who of course will benefit from the additional funding the Premier and I announced this morning. Madam Speaker, research tells us that children who participate in a quality early childhood program in the year before school develop stronger cognitive, social and behavioural skills which will help them succeed at school and in fact in later life. An average of 600 hours or 600 hours a year or 15 hours per week. Madam Speaker, I note the interjection from the Shadow Minister. I would have thought that she would actually be interested
I would have thought so too, actually.
Services.
I'm quite surprised that there are interjections during this answer. Minister has the call. Ridiculous.
An average of 600 hours or 15 hours per week is considered the baseline level for participation. And that is why, Madam Speaker, the Premier and I were proud to announce today that this government is investing a further $115 million to ensure that New South Wales families have affordable access to 600 hours of early childhood education. And Madam Speaker, I know that members are already receiving emails and texts from very excited preschools and parents. Madam Speaker, I do want to thank, though, Arnie Tracy, the wonderful team at Wannamberry Preschool, and of course including the Management Committee members who were there with us today, David Watkins and Christine Masella. And I couldn't go past thanking the stars of the morning, and that was the preschoolers themselves. And I'm pleased to report that the Premier and I have nearly got the Barramundi song down pat. In what will be, Madam Speaker,
Members of the opposition. Minister has the call.
In what will be, Madam Speaker, the largest single fee reduction initiative in New South Wales history, this funding will be tied directly to the provision of more affordable
Port Stephens,
early childhood education for families in New South Wales. Madam Speaker, we are supporting community preschools with an additional $85 million in funding over the next 2 years. From next year, children who enrol in community preschools for 600 hours in their year before school will receive increased subsidies from the government, in fact up to $6,600 for the most disadvantaged children. This will allow community preschools to reduce fees for all families by an average of 30% and in fact remove...
Member for Port Stephens, if you wish to debate this matter with the Minister, perhaps you could make an appointment rather than continually interject.
And in fact, Madam Speaker, remove nearly all fees for children from Aboriginal and low-income families. We are also improving the way that we support services in rural and remote communities. I know, Madam Speaker, that children in rural and remote areas often experience additional barriers to accessing early childhood education. This government is working closely with peak industry bodies to ensure community preschools continue to provide access for future generations of young children. Madam Speaker, beginning in 2017 there will be a safety net for small community preschools operating in rural and remote areas. This safety net will support eligible services by providing a minimum funding of $132,000 to ensure that children living in small rural and remote communities have access to quality early childhood education. Madam Speaker, we also know that educators in rural and remote areas face very unique challenges. And that is why the New South Wales Government last year established the Rural and Remote Early Childhood Teaching Scholarship Program, committing $1.3 million to fund this initiative. These scholarships assist not according to the teachers I speak to, thank you, the member for Port Stephens, I acknowledge that interjection as well. These scholarships assist diploma qualified teachers working in community preschools in rural and remote areas to upgrade to degree qualified early childhood teachers. Madam Speaker, on top of the 30 scholarships already awarded for the 2016 academic year, I can announce that an additional 49 scholarships will be awarded for students in 2017. These scholarships are a great opportunity to support those working in the sector to improve the delivery of early childhood education programs in rural and remote areas. In addition, this government has also provided funds for capital works grants to increase the number of...
Member for Heathcote.
Madam Speaker, due to the importance of this question, I'd like to...
Thank you. 2 minutes is granted.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In addition, this government has also provided funds for capital works grants to increase the number of preschool places in New South Wales. And I've been absolutely delighted to visit preschools that have received this grant under the program, Old Bar and Wingham preschools, for example, in the member for Mile Lakes electorate, Ulsterball and in Orange. Madam Speaker, this government will also deliver $30 million in funding to long daycare centres. We are proud of the diverse early childhood education sector that New South Wales has, and we know that long daycare is the preferred option for many of our working families. Families who choose long daycare can be confident that this government will support their children to participate in early childhood education in that important year before school. The government's $30 million investment in long daycare centres will reduce fees on the second day of enrolment for disadvantaged children to ensure that 600 hours of early childhood education is affordable for all New South Wales families. Madam Speaker, this government knows that to build a more prosperous society, investing in the early years is essential, and this commitment to early childhood education funding in New South Wales will improve educational outcomes for children while delivering greater affordability for our families.